All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Tim Talks. I'm here with our membership coordinator, Tim Hoyt. Tim, you want to take it away?
Yeah, thank you, Zach. Today on Tim Talks, we've got Karl Hubbard from Area 793 in Champlain, Vermont. Welcome, Karl. Are you having a good day today?
We're having a great day today, Tim.
Outstanding. So I've got a couple things I want to talk to you about today, and it's specifically, of course, centered around membership and what we can do on helping our organization grow. How long have you been a member, Karl, and what can you remember made you join the Eagles initially?
Well, I joined back in 2009, and probably very typical of most new members. A friend of mine was a member of the Champlain Area 793, and he said invited me down, and we had some fun down at the area, and he showed me what it was all about and what we did, and I thought it would be a good fit for me, and I joined.
Well, looking at your history on our MMS system, you have served as the state membership chairman on several occasions. What made you want to accept that role and help your state with its membership efforts?
I guess it really became apparent that I wanted to do that after I had gone to the incoming state president's meeting as a state president and listened to everything that everybody else was doing. It was extremely informative, and I figured I've got some good ideas, and I think maybe it'd be fun if I did that the following year. And the incoming president appointed me as the state membership chairman, and
So
that's how I
in
started
your
doing that.
tenure, I'm sorry, in your tenure, have you noticed any weaknesses that you've seen in regards to recruiting new members, and what steps have you helped take to correct those if you've seen any?
I think if any of the weaknesses that I've seen, and in traveling around to the different areas in my state, is communication. And I think getting the information from the area to the community is lacking a little bit, and we are a best kept secret around, and getting that communication from the state to the area to the community is really what I see as being lacking.
Have you seen anything that's surprised you or unexpected that you've learned as serving as your membership chairman throughout the state of Vermont?
I think the biggest thing is that once we started talking to the area and each individual area and going to them and then explaining how they can go out into the community, they were very receptive on being able to do that. I think having somebody paying attention to what they were doing and showed them and gave them the tools to be able to go out into the community and recruit new members, that was the key thing. That was the biggest surprise.
So the fact that you went in and got to talk with each of these individual areas one-on-one, face-to-face, that communication is really what drove home your points.
Oh, absolutely. That is really key. In any of the officer training that I've done, once they have somebody that is taking an interest in what they do, they take that interest to heart, and they will go out and follow your lead on doing that.
Now, several years ago, you showed Zach and I a membership poster that you helped create for the state of Vermont. What inspired that poster, if you can recall?
Well, I was looking for some way to get the information at each area of how many members they had and what the goals were. If you walked into an area and you said, "So how many members do you have?" Said, "Well, maybe 100, maybe 150." There really wasn't any knowledge about how big the area that you were, or where you were wanting to go and how much you wanted to grow. I happened to be on a fundraising committee where they had this great idea where they had this thermometer, and as you got more and more money in, the thermometer kept climbing up, and I said, I'm going to try that with the state. And so we started doing that, and it was sort of fun with the thermometer. And then after I went to one of the training sessions at the national convention, there was a little phrase that caught my attention that said "path to success." And so I took that term and got together with a graphic designer, and we made a path. It was okay. We worked it a little bit. One of our members has a company that does this kind of work. And so he took a look at it and said, let's just do this and what information you want on there. And so we did this path going through a field and reaching all the way up to the top with a big eagle on the top. And it said, this is our starting, this is the date that we started, was June 1st. This is our membership number 252. And then this is our net gain. And then from that, we decided, depending on what size the area was and what their capabilities, what the net gain plus 2%, net gain 4 or 5%. And we were able to put that on. That poster, I personally took to every area the first year and put it up. And I don't know whether it was just because of the particular climate that year or the people wanting to join in the clubs, or whether it was the poster, but 7 out of the 9 areas that poster was in were successful in reaching their net gain plus. The 2 that weren't that successful didn't use the poster. So I don't know whether that made a difference or whether it was just coincidence. But to me, it seemed that when I go into an area, they go, look at our poster, Karl, look at this, look how far we've gone. I know exactly how many more members I need to do and then what I need to do to get there. So I think it makes a big difference. It's a challenge. People know, and the poster's put in a very conspicuous place so that if they have an event going on or guests coming in, they can see the poster and the guys go, oh, you started with 256 members and now you're at 280. You only got 10 more to go to get to your goal. Really important, really nice to see.
So it sounds like what that did was you were able to put this poster up in a place where all the members could see it. So they knew, number one, what the president's goals were. And
Correct.
then by looking at the poster as they walked by it day to day, they could see how close they were on accomplishing the goals that the president had set. So all the members know where the finish line is at all times.
Perfect. Exactly. And they could say, so when's our next initiation? I want to see that go up. Oh, how many we got going to the initiation? 3. Well, I know 2 guys. If we can get them in this time, can we do that and help us reach our goal? It's a real motivator, I think.
Well, that really seems like it has worked really well for you. And because we think that it's such a great idea, I have been promoting that poster in the presentations that I'm doing now as I travel across the jurisdiction. So I want to thank you for bringing that to us, because it has been very fruitful for the new areas and auxiliaries that are starting to use it. It's in its infancy traveling across the jurisdiction right now, but I'm looking forward to seeing some great things from it over the next couple years.
Perfect. That's great.
So you've been very proactive in also creating presentations for membership and holding seminars to help educate your fellow brothers. What has been the response to these seminars that you've been doing, and how helpful do you think they've been?
The seminars in general, when I do an officer training where I've got maybe 4 or 5 different areas going to that one particular training, as I do the presentation, we do get into conversations where an area from one part of the state will be able to discuss with an area from another, and they get to exchange the ideas, which is really, really helpful, and that really gets it going well. However, I really feel that almost like a one-on-one presentation where I go in to an area that I see maybe having problems with their officers and maybe saying, gee, this is what we really need to do. Officers don't understand what's really going on. If I go into one particular area and do an officer training, it is just one-on-one. I'm able to understand their demographics of what's happening in their club or their area and be able to help solve those problems and get them going in the right direction. The one thing that is really, really key, all the information that we have is great that we get from the Grand Area. FOE.com has absolutely everything that we need. But when you go in and you say, here's a tool, here's a spreadsheet that now you can use to say, okay, this is how we cost out our alcohol. This is how many members that we need to get in to reach our goal per month. Very similar to what you do for the
Oh,
state level. I do for the individual levels. And so not just the information, but all the correct tools to make it happen. That's really, really key is in the presentations, information plus the tool to make it happen.
so it sounds like you're really prepared when you go in with the tools you're carrying with you to do the one-on-ones and show them exactly the path to success because it's been proven before.
Correct, correct. And you notice one of the things that I always say in my presentations is that FOE.com plus U equals success. And that's exactly right. That's that if the members understand how to go on to FOE.com, going into members only training or forms and logos, you can actually take all that information. It's the best resource that we absolutely have to be able to get what you need to be able to be successful. But if it just stays at FOE.com and you don't use it, it doesn't mean anything. But when you get that information, you take it and you say, we're coming up to renewal time of year. There's like 5 pages on different things that you can do to help people come back into your area and to renew. It's all there on FOE.com. Just stays there unless you use it. And so FOE.com plus U equals success.
Very true. That is very true. Now, in many cases, Zach and I, we see membership chairpersons coming in who think that they officially start their year out on June 1st, or once they take their official chair in the month of June, rather than planning far out in advance. What kind of advice would you give to people who might become membership chairs for 2025, 2025, there are 6 or beyond in the terms of advanced preparations for their roles? What suggestions would you give these people?
Well, as soon as you know who the incoming state president is, the state president appoints the chairman, your membership chairman. At that point, you start communicating with the other officers in the state. You start communicating with all your areas and say, what do you need to like, what works for you? What makes sense for you? And that way you start developing your program all the way right up through. You should be so prepared by the time you get to Omaha that you could be able to stand up and in 5 minutes tell everybody in that room what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, all the things that are necessary to make you a success. That's when you do it. But it takes that 5-6 months ahead of time of figuring out what's needed to be able to do that, and then figuring out how you're going to do it. That's the same as the membership posters. That took almost a year to get together to make sure it worked right. That's what the membership chairman needs to do. That's when they start, not when they get installed or the new president gets installed in June. You start at almost a year ahead of time.
Yeah, and that's good advice, because even at the local level, which we're trying to get this message down to the local membership chairmans, is that even though you're going to take your official chair in June, once you find out in April or May that you are going to occupy that position, that's when your planning should go into effect.
Right.
That's when you should be reaching out, checking out your resources, getting with the current people that are occupying those positions and getting the information from them on what they've done to get to that point, and then work together with them hand in hand until you officially are handed the key on June 1st. So
Exactly.
preparation is 100% the key.
Your state membership chairman should be so prepared that at your convention where you are installed, or when you really take your office or your chair committee, that's when you should have everything ready to say, okay, here you go, guys. Take this back to your area. Here's your plan. Here's all the information you need. Here's the tools that you need to do to get to where you need to go. That's exactly right. So your preparation starts a year ahead of time. So when you do take the chair, you're on the ground running, and here's all the information that you need. It shouldn't be just, okay, this is our plan. If you bring in 3 members, you get a free snap ticket. It has to be, how do I do that? How do I get new members? Where do I go to find the information? You give them all the necessary tools to succeed, and that's where it makes a big difference.
Well, Karl, I want to thank you for your input today. And I think one of the key things you mentioned was that our website is such a fountain of knowledge that by going to members only and looking at the tools that we have there, that can help prepare these people way in advance. And that, of course, marketing and membership is available to them with an email or a phone call or a text message. We're that close to giving them all the other resources and tools they need to do everything that's possible to make their year the most successful it can be when it's their turn to be that state membership chairperson or provincial.
That you're absolutely right, Tim, and that's so important that that membership chairman, whether they be state or local, being prepared, having all the right information, and having the knowledge. If you don't have the answer, know where to go to get it.
Amen.
FOE.com.
Thank you. Well, Karl, I just want to say it's been a pleasure speaking with you today, and thank you for coming on Tim Talks for the month of March here in 2025. And as you know, we're only a click away or a call away from all of your needs. And we want to thank you for your time this afternoon, for giving of your knowledge on helping others so that they can be the best they can be when it comes to helping recruit membership. I want to thank you on behalf of the marketing department and the membership department at FOE, and we hope that you have a great finish to this year of 2025, and we look forward to you having a great year for the 25-26 fraternal year that's rapidly approaching.
Very quick. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Zach. We'll see you in Grand Rapids.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you,
We'll
Karl. See you there.
friend. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.